I made a variety. I've got geometry gives off good energy just by itself, just like the shape of the pyramid gives off energy. Everything that's geometric is positively inclined in terms of energy. I mean, the ancient Greeks knew about that, and I'm sure it probably goes further back than the Greeks, who then passed it on to the Egyptians. Coils, because of conductance of energy, which is in a swirling motion, it ramps up the energy. Yeah, sand is crystalline. You walk on the beach, most of the sand is primarily crystalline. Tiny, tiny, washed over millions of years. It washed off the granitic crystals off the rocks that were formed millions of years ago by molten lava and then hardened, igneous rock. But much of the igneous rock is crystalline. The Egyptian pyramid was made essentially of crystalline stones, you see, and that's why it had this powerful energetic effect. I found some other sand that I had forgotten that I had.
Yep.
So I'm trying to use some of it. It has some different colors in it. This one I added a pocket OG into it, so it's even more powerful, and a bunch of seashells. For example, I pour some resin in there, and then I fill it with sand. But then I have to scrape the sand down on all the sides and make sure that everything is level. But the problem is the resin wants to harden. So now it begins to stick on the sides, and you've got sand and resin which really stick together. Why? Because sand is so small, the surface area is so large, because you have thousands of little sand crystals. So there's a huge surface area. That's another good thing why it's great to use sand for making OGs. The large surface area. The larger the surface area and the smaller, that's why the smaller the metal is, the larger the surface area, the stronger the OG becomes. So if you can go to a key place and get him to save the metal shavings from the keys that he grinds, and it's powder essentially, they throw it away. So go around to a few key places and ask them if they would save that for you. You're doing artistic work with it and you need fine metal. They'll be happy to save it for you. You can use chalk. Just go get thick chalk in different colors and mix it with sand that you pick up on a beach. Mix it. Mix the sand with chalk, or you can use the chalk by itself. This is really fine. It's powder, yeah, and this isn't. This is more crystalline. I've got different colors here. I've got here. This is chalk. So go get sand, fine sand from the beach, and mix it with some chalk color. Have a go at it. Just experiment. You cannot go wrong when you're starting out to make an OG. The first thing I would like to tell you, you cannot make a mistake. No matter how goofy it ends up looking, even if you don't like it, it will be a functional orgone generator, because it doesn't care particularly that it isn't perfect, that it isn't aesthetically pleasing. It will give off energy because you have the basics. You have the sand crystals, you have the metal, you have the resin that sticks it all together, and you have the crystals. And that's all you need. There were people who were making orgone generators with cement and sand alone. They weren't even using crystals. But they discovered when they stuck any kind of crystal in there, the orgone generator became better. But you see, we have this idea, we have to get a perfect crystal, and you have to go out and find these perfect crystals. They're very expensive, they're hard to find. It's not necessary. You can find rocks that have...
Which is over there?
Yeah, that have crystals in them, and they'll work just fine. Here. Just keep your eyes on the ground. These are pebbles. They're all mostly crystals. Millions of years old. They've been shaved and rounded. You can find them everywhere. Use those. You don't have to spend a lot of money on fancy crystals. It's not necessary. Not only that, once you focus on the rocks, they're everywhere. You're going to find them. They will help you to be found.
Yeah.
The plants love this energy. See, there's an ugly one here. I just took a plastic thing. See, it's busted, but it doesn't matter. And it's made out of metal and resin and crystals. And even though it's cracked and the metal is starting to rust, it'll take years and years and years for this not to work.
Yeah.
You know, it'll last for another 40, 50 years before it's so rusted. But, you know, it's not necessary. Here's an old pyramid, probably 15 or 20 years old. See, it's cracked. Doesn't matter. It's perfectly functional.
Yep.
And the energy is going into we had wonderful strawberries this summer. They just loved that. All the plants. Look at how this thing grew here. A bay leaf plant. I bet you in the last 2 months it shot up from here to here. The OGs help, of course. And, you know, you put out, I mean, look at all the good energy that's around here in this small area. Why wouldn't it help? Negativity hasn't got a chance.
Yeah.
I don't worry about chemtrails. Let them spray. It doesn't matter. See, I've just poured this one. And I've started this one here. 6 pocket OGs down here.